today's live IELTS class. I hope everybody has had a good week and is looking forward to a nice weekend. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you live from beautiful Budapest here in Central Europe. And in this class, we are looking at the listening section, part 3 and part 4, answering the questions, getting in some practice. Hi, Lydia. Hi, Shuvaraj. Majtaba. Kamaljit. Toby. Ashraf, Prashant, nice to see many people in the class. Hi Samuel, welcome members. As usual everyone, this lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, please visit us there and check out our premium package. And for general IELTS, visit us at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com on both of our websites. We have loads and loads of help for you to get those high band scores, videos, practice exams, interactive courses. We have all original content. Our materials are developed by experts and psychologists in education and in English communication. We are a team from all over the world, mostly in Canada. All right, everyone. So if you have any questions, you can always send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. I will get back to you as soon as I can, of course, usually in less than 24 hours. To get our exams, if you want them in hard copy, check out Amazon and look for AEhelp's Academic IELTS or G-Help's General IELTS on Amazon. So tomorrow we will have question and answer class with some interesting work for editing with members on writing. That was requested by Hassan. And then we'll have a speaking part 2 class for everyone also. Okay, so let's get going with some speaking. So I'm going to get right into speaking part 3 practice. As many of you probably remember that were here yesterday, speaking part 3 was something about a group project. So I'm going to use my headset here to play the audio from our website. Make sure that you save your answers into a separate document or a separate sheet. So don't put your answer in the chat. Wait until the end. We will look at the answers together, give everybody a fair chance to answer the question. So don't put them in the chat. Put them somewhere else. And then we'll share them once we're done listening part 3. So I'll get right into this. I'm using my headset and a nice Bose speaker, but if it's quiet for you, just turn up the volume or try to use a headset on your end as well, please, okay? All right, so let's hop over to our Academic IELTS website here. It's the blue background with the big red join button. When you join, you'll have access to a student account. And then in your student account, you have computer-based practice tests. You get a tour, of course, to see what's going on. And then, of course, you have a lot of audio materials as well. So I'm just going to open up the audio CDs here. So let's do that, and then we'll start the listening right away. So this is listening test 1, part 4. Here we go, everyone.
Now turn to section 3. Take some time to look at questions 21 to 26. Listening section 3. You will hear 3 students organising a class project. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 26.
I just got an email from the professor saying the due date for our European History group project has been pushed back to Monday.
Great! That means we'll have the weekend to work on it.
I suppose that's good news, but I don't really want to do any homework on my weekend. I had planned to go away with my girlfriend for some relaxation this weekend.
I suppose that's understandable. Maybe we should just have it done by Friday, the original due date. That gives us today and Thursday to finish it.
We can do that, I think. I'm available tomorrow. How about we spend today planning it? assigned tasks to take home with us and do tonight, and then meet tomorrow and put it all together. Does that sound right?
That works for me.
That doesn't work too well for me. My afternoon is very busy. I guess I'll just have to burn the midnight oil tonight.
What has you so tied up, Evan?
I have a basketball game after school today, and then my favourite football team plays this evening at 7. It's okay though. I'll get the work done. Let's get started on the planning.
All right. So we have to come up with a 3-panel poster about a topic in European history. I already bought the material for the poster, so we don't have to worry about that.
How much was it?
It was £3.
Okay, we'll each give you £1 for the poster board.
No, don't worry about it. My dad paid for it anyway.
Sounds good to me.
Right then, since there's 3 of us, my idea was that 2 of us could take care of the writing part of the project, while one of us could look after the artwork, making the poster look smart.
I'll do the artwork. I think I'm a pretty good artist.
I'll be happy to do half the writing. What topics are we going to choose?
Well, the professor said the topic has to be an event that took place somewhere between 1400 and 1800, so we can't do either of the world wars.
That's too bad. My dad is an expert on the Second World War, and he could have helped me with my part. What are we going to do instead?
You now have some time to look at questions 27 to 30. Now listen to the rest of the discussion and answer questions 27 to 30.
I was reading my textbook the other day and I read some really interesting information on the French Revolution.
That's a really good idea.
I know. How about instead of doing a summary of the French Revolution, we write about some of the people involved instead?
Oh, I like that idea. So who are some of the important people?
Well, there's the King, Louis XVI.
Robespierre was important, I think.
Yes, he was. And of course, Napoleon Bonaparte.
We should have 4 people, so you can each write about 2 people.
How about Marie Antoinette?
Okay, so we have 4 historical figures. Each of you are going to write about 2. Now we have to decide how much we're going to write. Remember, we have to fill up a 3-board poster.
That's a good point about the 3-board poster. Maybe we should do a 5th person, then we can have 2 figures on each side with 1 in the middle.
Good idea. We can make the middle one really important. We'll make that one Napoleon. As for a 5th person, how about Voltaire?
Good. So how about I do the important one on Napoleon and a smaller one on Robespierre?
Okay, and I'll do the other 3.
How long should each topic be?
I'd say 200 words each for the small ones and 450 for the big one on Napoleon.
I think that sounds about right. What do you think about meeting up later on?
That is the end of section 3. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
And as I always say, students, check your answers in that half minute. Make sure you don't make any spelling mistakes or any silly mistakes with the questions or with the instructions. Okay. All right. So let's go through the answers together now. And students, make sure to use English only in the chat. Okay. And make sure to really focus on the lesson. All right. Everybody's here to improve their IELTS band scores and to maybe pick up some good English and good strategy as well. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. Now, this is part 3, so it's more challenging. You have to really understand the conversation to get the answers. So in part 3 and part 4, it doesn't really work to just listen for keywords. If you're only listening for keywords in part 3, part 4, you will probably only get a couple of the answers correct for each one. So you really have to get the information. Okay, so number 21, what day of the week does the discussion take place? Okay, when are they talking to each other? When is this happening? Pinty says Thursday. Toby says Friday. And whatever you want says, no, it's Wednesday. And the correct answer is Wednesday. Okay, now the easiest way to write that answer is just like this. Wednesday. All right. Now, if some of you are going, what? Why is it Wednesday? And you're not sure, what should you do at this point if you're like, how is that Wednesday? What do you want to do here? Okay. What should you do if you're not sure why it's Wednesday? And again, you don't need to write the full word because you can make spelling mistakes. It's okay to write the abbreviation, know how to abbreviate days. Of course, you can write it like this as well. And you don't need the period, okay? So what should I do? If I'm at home and I'm practicing and I'm improving my English, then what do I need to do if I realize that the answer was wrong here? What's the best step? Samuel says, check the transcripts. Yeah, not the subtitles, but the transcripts. So check the transcripts, right? Yeah, so we can do that. In our books, of course, we include the transcripts. So let's take a quick peek at the transcripts. I think those are going to be on 175. Let's try 160. Okay, so let's figure this one out before we go to the next questions. Like I say, you have to listen, okay? So here's the transcripts. Here's what the speakers say. So Megan says, I just got an email from the professor saying the due date for our European history group project has been pushed to Monday. Anna says, great, that means we have the weekend to work on it. So obviously it's not the weekend, it's not Monday. Evan says, I suppose that's good news, but I don't really want to be doing homework on my weekend. I had planned to go away with my girlfriend. Okay, so then Megan says, I suppose that's understandable. And here's the answer. We've highlighted it for our students when they're using the transcripts. Maybe we should just have it done by Friday, so finish it on Friday. The original due date, that gives us today and Thursday to finish it. So if they have today and Thursday to finish it and hand it in on Friday, that makes today Wednesday. Okay, so it's an inferred answer. In speaking part 3, it's not as easy as part 1 or part 2 where they say, hey, today is a great day, it's Wednesday, I love Wednesdays, I love today. You're not going to hear that kind of information. You would hear that in part 1, maybe part 2, but you won't hear it in part 3 or 4. In part 3 or 4, you have to get it from this information. Okay? Vaishnavi says, is that available in the exam? No, you don't have transcripts in your actual exam, but you have it in good practice books like on our website, our books, or the Cambridge books have it. Make sure that if you're buying study materials, you buy good materials that have this kind of extra help. We have a lot of extra help like this for our exams so that you can really learn and understand what's going on. Okay, and so let's get back to the questions, all right? And then we'll take a look at some more. Okay, so use the transcripts, students. Use the transcripts. Okay, that's a big tip. Use the transcripts. All right, so now we had a chart completion. And here you had some keywords. It was moving quite quickly. Okay, so let me just erase Wednesday. And then we'll get to question 22. So what are they doing today? So they have today, tomorrow, tonight. What are they doing today? So Alak Haider says they're planning. Thao Nguyen agrees. And Bekjan Samuel are all on board. Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're planning. It's a common word, so just all lowercase. Planning, okay? Careful with the double N. Planning, okay? That's today. So they're doing the project tonight, sure. They actually finish the planning and the listening. And then they're putting together the project when? Now, this should be pretty easy and logical for 23. So it's today, tonight, and if you understood the last question, or the first one, I should say, with the Wednesday, then you'll get this one as well. So, yeah, Samuel, Mahbuba, and Toby all agree that it's tomorrow. It is tomorrow. Okay, with tomorrow, pay attention to the double R, the spelling of tomorrow. Again, it's a common noun, so small t is absolutely okay. Tomorrow. So far, so good. All right, so those were a couple of more gentle or gentler questions and answers. Good. When you have a chart like this, oftentimes the questions can come quite quickly in part 3 and part 4. So really focus and really use your logic. Okay? All right. Make sure that you do that. All right. Coffee cup, please use English in the chat. If you're not using English, I'll have to boot you. Okay? All right. Thanks. So 24, this is multiple choice. Very important tip here. Don't stare at the answers. Instead, listen for the answer. Maybe take a note. Okay. So one of the big mistakes with multiple choice is students are staring at these 3 answers here, hoping that something's going to pop out. Don't do that. That's not a good strategy. Okay. Instead, pay more attention to the question and listen for the answer. Okay. So who paid for the poster board? A, B, or C? Simran says, I think that was B. I think one of the women's fathers paid for it. Yeah. Yeah, one of the women says, my dad paid for it. Okay, so they don't use the word father. And if you're taking notes, then you can say girl's dad. Okay, so I would use the symbol for woman or women, and then I would go women's dad. Okay, the symbol for men are like that. It's much faster than writing the word men or women. Okay, as long as you're familiar, learn note-taking strategy in short forms and symbols. They're very useful not only for the IELTS but also for university. Okay, so women's father, one of the women's fathers. So the correct answer was B here. Absolutely. Okay, there are a lot of useful symbols that you can learn to make your university life easier when you're taking notes. Now, I know that many of you don't take notes like I used to in university. You're doing it digitally. I still did a lot of pencil and paper, so we had to learn a lot of ways to make our note-taking faster. If you think the IELTS is fast, wait till you get into your university classes and the professor is just spilling out information. Okay? All right, so that's B. Let's keep going. Here we go. So write no more than 3 words and or a number. Really pay attention to the instructions. Here it's number 25, so make sure in your answer sheet, if you're doing the paper-based, on 25 you have answer 1, comma, answer 2. Don't accidentally move it to 26, otherwise you'll be like, what? There's not enough boxes, okay? So it's 14 and 1800. Good job, Simran. Good job, Thao, Ashraf, Lydia, Prashant, Bimal. Nicely done, Nick Hill. Yeah, 14 and 1800. So that's all you need here is 14, comma, 18. You don't need the and because the and is provided. So it's not necessary. Just 14, comma, 18, 2 numbers. Okay, sometime between 14 and 1800. Okay. So those were the correct answers, all right? 14 and 1800. All right, 26. What topic would the male student like to write on? He cannot due to assignment restrictions. Tajinder, if you do 14/18, that's absolutely okay. All right. Mahbuba says Second World War, all of the letters have to be capital, so be very careful. Okay. Second World War or World War II, it's the name of a war, so you have to have capital. World War II. Okay. You can write the number 2. That's okay. The easiest way to write World War II is like this. This is the most common way to see it written. Okay. WW and then the Roman numeral 2. Okay, World War II. It is the name of the war. So it's capital W's. If you have small w, like this, you'll get that wrong. Okay, that does not look correct. It's not the name, right? Bimal, yeah, for World War I, World War II, we most often use the Roman numeral. It's just standard. I'm not sure why that came to being, but that's the way that it's often depicted. So if you read history books and so on, you'll see the Roman numeral 2 for World War II. And of course, you'll see the Roman numeral 1. Okay. Samuel, yeah, you can do Second World War. That's okay as well. Lots of different ways to write it. Just make sure they're capitals. Okay, this was absolutely an inference type question. You had to figure out what this poster board looks like. In a lot of schools, universities, colleges, high schools, there's a very typical kind of project. It's called a poster board project. And many of those poster boards have 3 sides, like this. There's a very good chance that when you go to do your university degree, you will have at least a couple of these projects. So you have 3 board posters. They're big, okay? And then you usually put them on a table and stand beside the poster. And when people come and look at your poster, you have to explain what's going on, okay? So here they said, okay, we're going to put a really famous person in the middle. And we're going to put a couple of people on the sides of the poster. Hopefully many of you saw this visually, and then some information about them underneath. So this is what their poster board will look like, something like that. Okay, so 27, Robespierre, on the side of the poster, in the middle, or not on the poster. Okay, 27 is A. 27 is on the side of the poster. Okay. How about 28, Rousseau? Where does Rousseau go? Now, hopefully you are also paid attention to which names you heard and which names you didn't hear. Okay? So, Rousseau. Yeah, Samuel, it's not mentioned. So, C. Rousseau, we did not hear this name. This name was nowhere in the audio, so you could have easily crossed that off because you did not hear that name. So you didn't hear Rousseau. You heard Robespierre, not Rousseau. How about Louis the 16th? So King Louis the 16th. Side of the poster or middle of the poster? The King Louis 16th. Yeah, 29 was A, on the side of the poster. That leaves us with number 30, Napoleon Bonaparte, very famous historical figure, the French Revolution. Okay. All right. So that was the middle. Yeah. This is Napoleon Bonaparte. Okay. All right. So I'm just going to test. So a lot of you did a good job here, which is fantastic. I want to test your active listening skills. Let's see how well some of you did, even beyond this. And this is an exercise I recommend doing when you're in class or with partners to really challenge each other using English and trying to assess each other's active listening skills, helping each other out. Here's my bonus question. Okay, for the people on the side of the poster, so this is bonus 1. Bonus question 1. Let's see who can pick up the most bonus points. How many words? So what's the number of words for the people on the side of the poster board? Okay. Makbuba, you'd be surprised. Okay. Ishan says, was it 150? So how many words should they write about each person on the side? Anybody catch that number? This is your visualization and your active listening skills being tested. Let's see who picks up the most bonus points. And nobody's got it so far. So the students, when they're talking, they say, okay, in the middle, let's do Napoleon. And for the really important person, we should write this many words. For the people on the side of the poster board, we should write this many words. Okay. I'll wait one more second. It was 200. They said for each person on the side of the poster board, we should write 200 words. Okay. Did anybody pick up the center? How many words? So bonus question 2, number of words for the middle. Okay. How many words for Napoleon? Malakyadat says 500. Close. It's not bad. Good guess, but not right. It was a very unique number. You kind of catch it. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah, very good, Lydia and Vaishnavi. Vaishnavi was the first one to get that correct. Vaishnavi, you get my super thumbs up. There you go. Well done. Vaishnavi. Kalathur. Yeah, it was 450 words. Right? And that sounded kind of fair. You know, when students are doing projects, they always want to be fair. And the woman said, I'll do the one in the middle and one on the side. So the woman's doing 650 words. And then the man said, I'll do the other 3. So he's doing 600. So that's how they equally divided the work, right? 600, 650. Okay. All right. So that was the bonus round there. One of you picked that up first. That was good. Now, one last bonus question, and I encourage you to do this. So a lot of students, when they're studying IELTS, they go, IELTS is so boring. I agree. It often is, okay? You have to remember your goal to get a high score so you can go to university or get work or to immigrate. So keep your goal in mind. One way to kind of make IELTS a little bit more interesting is to engage the information. So think critically, actively. This will help your learning. You'll pick up some valuable information. So here's a bonus question about this topic, okay? Why is the French Revolution very important in history? So why is the French Revolution, it should be a big R, revolution, a key point in modern history? There's a very important answer for this, and if you don't know it, you should learn it. And it's for world history, not just for European history, but for world history, human world history. Why is the French Revolution a key point in modern world history? Okay, I bet many of you will be surprised to learn this interesting piece of information. Yeah, so Samuel, very good. You described it mostly, right? So Samuel says, people overthrew monarchy. Romain says, because of human rights. Abhishek says it led to industrialization. Yeah, you're all very, very close. It's all kind of connected. It is the birth of modern capitalism. Okay, so the French Revolution, where basically the French people said, okay, no more kings and queens. We had enough. There's too many problems. We want to vote for leadership. So we want to vote for our leaders, the people that organize and manage society. So the French Revolution is considered the birth of modern capitalism, not capitalism. I'm out to lunch. Birth of modern democracy. Sorry. Yeah, a little bit, a little bit out to lunch there. So, the birth of modern democracy. For those of you who don't know the word democracy, democracy means that you get to vote for your leaders. Okay, so for your president, your prime minister, your regional leaders, your community leaders. Before that, it was all kings and queens and dukes and other not elected, but just appointed by birth. Okay, so French Revolution, birth of modern democracy. Okay, Lydia, monarchy means like the system of kings and queens. Okay, kings and queens. Democracy means electing or choosing your leaders like presidents and prime ministers. So French Revolution was the key factor for that. After the French did it, everybody else in Europe said, hey, that looks like a good idea. We're going to do that too. And then they said, enough of these kings and queens. There's too many problems. People aren't too happy. Let's have a government instead where we choose our leaders. Okay? So that's the importance of the French Revolution. All right. Good. Everyone, add up your scores and we'll go on to section 4. Okay? So here we go. Mahbouba, yeah, I do like history. History is interesting. It's our past. Okay, here we go, everyone. So same thing for part 4. We're going to do the listening. We'll go through the questions after. Please don't put your answers in the chat. We will go through after with the questions, and then we'll do band score estimate as well. So again, if it's quiet, turn on or turn up your volume. Use a headset. Back to the website for track 4. Ready, set, go. Here we go.
Now turn to section 4. Take some time to look at questions 31 to 40. Listening section 4. You will hear a professor discussing climate change. Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
Hello class, hope you all had a good weekend. Today we will be talking about climate change. Life on Earth is going to have some adapting to do if climate scientists are correct with regard to their predictions of the Earth's rising atmospheric temperature. Humans and animals alike may have to change both their habits and habitats. The average temperature on the Earth's surface has risen by an estimated 1 degree centigrade in the last 100 years, and this trend is continuing at an ever-increasing speed. Until now, it seems that business and the environment have met as adversaries. But with the growing profitability of green products, perhaps business can play a positive role in the fight to save the environment. There is an ever-growing consensus that the cause of climate change can be linked to human action. To be more specific, environmental change is caused by the emission of greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide is chief among these. So what's so bad about things getting a little warmer, you may wonder? Weather patterns could become more extreme. The polar ice caps could melt. Sea levels could rise, and incidences of famine due to drought could also increase. On the other hand, places such as northern Canada will likely become more productive for farming and mineral and crude oil extraction. What isn't positive about the permafrost melting is that the ice is a carbon sink, and when it melts, it releases even more carbon into the atmosphere. It's clear that humans will have to change their relationship with the Earth and its resources, but the debate remains over who should be leading that change. Advocates of personal responsibility claim that small personal measures, such as changing light bulbs or riding a bike, can make a significant difference. On the other hand, governments from developing countries are calling for economic reparations to be paid by developed nations because, after all, it is the rich who cause most of the environmental damage and made money from it. The other major group that has profited from our increasing environmental degradation are corporations. Business has always been about production and consumption. The invisible hand of supply and demand has long run our economic system, and now there is an ever-growing demand for conservation. The question is, when will consumer demand be commensurate with green technological advances that allow for environmentally friendly products to actually be more profitable than those that pollute? One option to speed up this process is to have governments impose true cost taxes on every product that is sold. This would force prices to include an economic pressure to purchase or use products that will not cause further environmental degradation or carbon emissions. There is little doubt that climate change is going to cause a drastic difference to our environment and way of life. The questions that remain to be asked revolve around how to solve the climate crisis and who will pay for the restructuring of our patterns of consumption that have led to these problems. With the ever-growing desire for green consumer goods, perhaps businesses can answer some of these questions by producing environmentally sound products. Even if business has a role to play in saving the environment, it is clear that we all need to do our part.
That is the end of section 4. You will now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, so that is a typical part 4 of the listening section in the IELTS. It's often a lecture that you have to listen to, a monologue. And if some of you are wondering, this would be like a typical kind of first year college or first year university lecture in like an environmental studies class, okay? So if you're finding this difficult, I don't want you to be surprised, but when you get to your school, this is what your lectures will sound like. If you're going for a master's degree, they will be much more complex, often faster, more information heavy, okay? So this is more of a first year university class for bachelor students in environmental science, for example. Okay, so they're talking about climate change. Number 31, you have to put 2 words. Humanity as well as other species may have to drastically alter their, Simran says it's habits and habitats. Yeah, and it's lowercase letters here, so Samuel agrees that it's habits and habitats, and it's plural, okay, very importantly. So habits and habitats. Habits are our daily activities. Habitats are where we live, okay, where the animals live. So habits and habitats. Beckjohn, don't put the word and into the answer sheet because and is here, so don't include it. Only the 2 words, okay? All right, let's keep going. So number 32, businesses and environmentalists have been at odds with one another, but the emergence of something may change this. And this is kind of like taking notes in your college class, okay? So what may change this? This is a noun, if I look at this space, okay? Ishan says green product. Mahbuba says it's green products. Beckjan agrees. Yeah, it is green products, okay? And it's plural, okay? The S is important. Listen for those S's. Okay, listen for those S's. So it's green products. Very good. Then the professor talks about the causes of climate change. Now, pay attention, students, to these headings when you see them, okay? Because the professor clearly says, well, the causes and the implications of climate change are really important to think about. He says something like that. And then it says climate change is caused by greenhouse gases, specifically what? Gender, and Shuaraj says it's CO2. Yeah, and it is carbon dioxide. It's 2 words, but of course you can use the chemical abbreviation CO2. That's the easiest, and IELTS will take that. Okay, IELTS will take this kind of abbreviation. You don't have to subscript it. You can just do CO2 like that. It's perfect. Okay. Should be a capital C, capital O. All right. CO2, carbon dioxide. Okay. Warmer weather can cause extreme weather patterns, ice caps could melt, famine could occur. Northern Canada may become a beneficiary as far as food production is concerned. It could become a more productive place for what? Now, even if you miss this, you can guess it because it's here. As far as food production is concerned, could become more productive for farming. Yeah, so for those of you planning to move to Canada, not a bad idea, especially if not today, but for your children's children. It might be one of the most inhabitable places in the world where people can still live comfortably. I'm Canadian, and I can tell you that I have friends in North Canada who can now grow tomatoes and other vegetables that they could not grow a few years ago. So a few years ago, it was impossible in some parts of North Canada to grow vegetables and certain kinds of fruits. But now they can grow some beautiful tomatoes. There's a lot of sunshine up there. It's just that it was too cold before. Now it's not. Okay. All right. So a big negative is that the melting permafrost contains a lot of carbon, which will be released if the ice caps melt. Who is going to change? People who think each person is responsible for themselves believe that small steps, such as using energy efficient what? Simran says, I want to go to Canada. It's a great place. Samuel says it's light bulbs, and it is light bulbs. Very good. Light bulbs. Plural. Okay, light bulbs or riding a bike can help. So light bulbs, very good. Bekchan, very good for those of you who got it. You're very welcome, Rathindra. Okay, energy efficient light bulbs, which thankfully we've developed these LEDs that are great now, the LEDs. So that's good. Okay, so governments from developing nations want developed countries to pay them for causing such environmental damage. Economics. The something of supply and demand has been in charge of economics for a long time. The what? This was a very tricky question. It was a band 9. You had to catch this idiomatic expression. Toby, nicely done. Samuel, nicely done. It's the invisible hand. Okay, you just had to catch this. The invisible hand. We don't see it, but it's always happening. Everybody wants iPhones. A lot of iPhones get manufactured, and there are a lot of iPhones in the garbage. So it's the invisible hand of supply and demand that has been in charge. We want it. People and companies make it. Do we see that? No, it's the invisible hand of supply and demand. Okay. Economists wonder when consumer demand for environmental products will surpass products that pollute. One solution to this problem is to institute a something tax on each purchase which is deemed to be environmentally unfriendly. What kind of a tax is that? We have that on cigarettes, alcohol, and some other harmful products. Yeah, very good. A lot of you. Bimal, Ashraf, Lydia, Binti, true cost. Yeah, it's a true cost tax. My hope is that one day disposable batteries will be more expensive than rechargeable batteries because disposable batteries are horrible for the environment. We use so many of them. So if I can give you one personal tip on this kind of an idea, don't buy disposable batteries. Buy a charger and rechargeable batteries. You'll save money and you'll save the environment. I don't even know why we still sell disposable batteries. I think we should only sell rechargeable. It costs less in the long run and we save the environment. So here we go. This would provide an economic something to buy environmentally friendly products. So if rechargeable batteries were half the price of disposable batteries, then people would have, yeah, that's right, Viet, very good. Simran, excellent. We'd have pressure, nicely done, Sai, yeah. We'd have pressure to buy it, right? Okay. So pressure to buy environmentally friendly products. Absolutely. Okay. Pressure. Nice. Pressure. That's what we need. Push people to buy environmentally friendly products. The conclusion, climate change is going to change our way of life. Who will pay for the necessary changes in our consumption patterns? With the growing demand for environmentally friendly goods, it is arguably something, so it's a noun, which can best answer this question. And he says the answer twice, 2 or 3 times for this one. Businesses. It's businesses. Business is okay here, but businesses is the best answer. They'll take business, but businesses, which can best answer this question. Both plural and singular are okay because they work in the sentence, but if you caught the right word, it's plural. Okay? It is apparent, however, that something have a responsibility to look after the environment, and this is the kind of ending note. It's 2 words. Beckjan says, we all have to look after the environment. Careful where you throw your garbage. Try to recycle and take care of the planet. There's a very wise saying that I really, really like when we're talking about the environment. I'll write it up here for you to kind of think about while you add up your scores. So add up your scores, okay? So, and I'll write up this wisdom here. So we don't inherit the planet from our parents, but we borrow it from our children. Okay? Keep that in mind when you're making your decisions in life, because one day we will not be here, but our children and our children's children will be here. All right? That's the Canadian in me. So add up your scores, everyone, and let me know what you got out of 40. So what did you get out of 40? I know many of you were in the class yesterday. So add up your scores, and then I can check a couple of your scores, okay? We have a score calculator on the website, okay? So let me darken the screen so you'll be able to see this quite clearly. Let's just hop over to our website here. So if you go to aehelp.com or glshelp.com or IELTS websites, and you go to the bottom of the website, let me just kind of minimize the screen here. At the very bottom of the website, you'll see the score calculator. Okay, so if you click on that score calculator, let me erase my wisdom here, then you can type in your raw score and it will change it to your band score. So you don't have to keep looking at the score conversion cards on the internet. You can just do it digitally. So Verma Coding got 30 out of 40. The top one's for listening. So Verma, if I put 30 in here, then 30 out of 40 is a band 7. Okay, make that a little bit bigger. Band 7. Let's see. VN Hard got 31. 31 is still a band 7. Mac got 27 out of 40. 27 is 6.5. Okay. Toby got 38. I believe that's an 8.5, Toby. I know that because only 39 and 40 are 9. To get a band 9, you need 39. So GFOS05 and Toby, if you would have gotten one more right, you would have gotten band 9. Okay. Shuvaraj, score of 33. 33 is a 7.5. I think 7.5 Shuvaraj starts at 32. Okay. Abhishek, Koirala, 39 would be a band 9. Okay. 3940, that's band 9. All right. Vienne, this is not an easy or a hard test. The difficulty of this listening is exactly the same as a real IELTS exam. Okay, so your official IELTS exam will be exactly the same. Okay, all right. Okay, everyone, so that is the listening. Tomorrow we will have a Q&A session for members, and then we'll have the speaking part 2 for everyone tomorrow as well. Let me just come back here, and for lots of learning, lots of study, check us out at aehelp.com, glshelp.com. Spend a few dollars on the premium packages there to really invest in your success in learning. Hopefully everybody had a good time, as much as you can for the IELTS. You're very welcome, Ashraf. Have a great evening, Stanley. You're absolutely welcome, Eugene. Thank you for those happy emojis. And keep up the good practice, everyone. Active listening. Make sure you do it. Use the transcripts. I'm Adrian. Hopefully I'll see all of you tomorrow, and I'm signing out for now from Budapest. Much love to all of you. Bye.